Good morning, everybody. This is Tao of the Day. I am here talking with you all about the Tao because the Tao is a great text. The Tao Te Ching is a text consisting of 81 chapters or 81 verses, and I translate the Tao Te Ching as the canon of reason. Canon being the complete writings of how to live a reasonable life. Um, and I am writing my own version of the Tao, and so I'm going to go ahead and jump into number 74 this morning. 74. I'm working on the 70s. I did 73 this morning, and 74 will probably come up before I head out. I'm doing an early Tao today because I have a big day ahead of me today, and not a big day so much. I'm just going to be driving someone to the airport, but I got to get to their house. We're going to drive them to the airport, and then I got to come back and kind of prep everything. So I'm going to start staying over at a friend's house. She hosts an Airbnb, and I'm going to be staying at her house and doing that over the next couple of weeks while she travels internationally. But we're going to start early today, and we're going to have just a nice, probably a short session as I just read over 74. And if anybody has a number between 1 and 81 you'd like to contribute, I'd love to hear from you. If you realize that all things change, there is nothing you will try to hold on to. If you aren't afraid of dying, there is nothing you can't achieve. Trying to control the future is like trying to take the master carpenter's place. When you handle the master carpenter's tools, chances are you'll cut your hand. This happens to me, and I've seen it happen to others as well. When you try and control things, you shoot yourself in the foot. When you do that, it's really a sign that you need to let it go. You need to let this thing go, whatever it is. And no matter where you are right now, that is going to change. And if you can realize that all things change, there's nothing you're going to try and hold on to, right? No matter what it is. You're not going to try and hold on to me. You're not going to try and hold on to this program. You're not going to try and hold on to your partner. You're not going to try and hold on to the experience of summer. I remember I was living with someone who was just like, hey, you got to build your room, because we lived in a place and we had to literally build our rooms. We had to build walls and you know space, and they were small rooms, so we were all going to loft our rooms and all this kind of stuff. We had to build it. And one person was just like, well, I'm not going to spend my summer building. I was just like, what the fuck are you talking about, summer? Like, you're not going to spend your summer doing something that you need to do? Like what are you holding on to summer for? And the reason that we as a house wanted all that done is because we wanted to get through the process of living in a construction zone. And so there was a point where it was like, look, your summer might be important, but grow up. Like, you're not on summer vacation just because the sun is out, you know? And when we experience that, right? Like, why am I talking about this? Like, all things change. And you don't want to hold on to that which is coming, right? Like, this person wanted to hold on to their summer, and we're just like, no, we're moving into the next stage. We're not going to, like, maybe it gave us discord because we wanted things a certain way, and this other person had discord because they wanted it a certain way. But here we are in 74. If you realize that all things change, like, I could have relaxed because I know things are going to change. If you realize all things change, there's nothing you will try to hold on to. Just let it all go. No matter what is going on right now, let it go. Why? It's going to change. If I always tell my clients and stuff, because I work in the recovery field, like, if you think this, whatever this is not going to change, then you are not thinking clearly. And if you're not thinking clearly, well, obviously you don't want to follow thoughts if they're not coming from a clear place. So you want to be able to let go of those. I'm going to look at a couple other translations of this. And if anybody has a number between 1 and 81 you want to pick, definitely step up and I'll take your number and we'll read through the Tao. This is the leg. This is the oldest translation that I have access to. The people do not fear death. To what purpose is it to try to frighten them with death? Right? People don't fear death. To why would you try and frighten people with death? If the people were always in awe of death, and I could always seize those who do wrong, then and put them to death, who would dare to do wrong? Duh, 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 duh. There is always one who presides over the infliction of death. He who would inflict death in the room of him who so presides over it may be described as hewing wood instead of a great carpenter. Okay, as we reference, like someone is just hewing wood. It's not a great carpenter. They're just trimming it down. Seldom is it that he who would undertake the hewing instead of the great carpenter does not cut his own hand. So I'm taking a moment here and just trying to absorb what's being said here. Now I know we read the other one. The other one was a lot clearer than this. The people do not fear death. To what purpose is it to try to frighten them with death? They don't fear death. Why would you try and frighten them with death? If people were always in awe of death, and I could always seize those who do wrong and put them to death, who would dare do wrong? So, like when we talk about in awe of something, it's not always clear whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. You can be in awe of a mountain. You can be in awe of the sky. You can be in awe of all sorts of things. But this seems to be very contradictory, and I'm not exactly sure what it's trying to say. There's always one who presides over the infliction. I'm going to guess it's of death. There's always one who presides over the infliction of death. He who would inflict death in the room of him who so presides over it may be described as hewing wood instead of the great carpenter. Okay. Tao and the heavens preside over death. And a person who inflicts death is taking on the role of God. There's always one who presides over the infliction death. He who would inflict death in the room of him who so presides over it may be described. Fate. This is really about fate. I think what it's saying here is Tao presides over life and death. If a person wants to preside over Tao, they are taking the master carpenter's tools and they're going to cut their hand. As it's said in the other one, they're going to cut themselves. And what that means is you're actually just causing yourself pain. You're actually hurting yourself along the way. I'm going to go ahead and read another translation. If anybody wants to pick a number between 1 and 81, we could go over that Tao together. I'm going to be reading 74 once again. If men are not afraid to die, it is so a veil to threaten them with death. If men live in constant fear of dying, and if breaking the law means that a man will be killed, who would dare break the law? there is always an official executioner. If you try to take his place, it is like trying to be a master carpenter and cutting wood. If you try to cut wood like the master carpenter, you will only hurt your hands. So this is saying, why would you want to take the place of Tao? Why would you want to take the place of God and make a plan for your damn self? Why would you try and have desire in your life? You're here with this gift of life. And yeah, such a beautiful sort of sentiment, I think. William, it's been a while. How you doing, man?
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good. How you doing?
I am good. I have been exploring the Tao a little more deeply these days by writing my own rendition, and I'm going through the 74, just kind of exploring it because that's the next one I'll be tackling. But yeah, always open to kind of chatting about what's going on and how
Yep.
the Tao is kind of existing in the world today with others.
hmm Yeah, I was curious about what you've been talking about this morning. The people the you talk the are you talking about when you kill someone kill somebody that they're taking the role of Tao,
Well,
killing them in malice, killing them illegal, as a
Well,
crime.
I'm looking at it like, like as I go through these different translations, what I'm
hmm
seeing is that, what it's saying is like, look, if everybody lives their life without the threat of death, right?
hmm
Like death is not a threat when you just die out in the world. You're not,
hmm
and what it starts, each one of these translations that I read, men are not afraid to die. And
hmm
so if men are not afraid to die, what like what good would it do if you kind of threaten them with death? They're not afraid
Yeah.
to die.
Yeah.
But if you can turn them into people that are afraid of dying, which means dying, prematurely,
hmm
you know, and you won't be able to live your life, well, then
hmm
all of a sudden you kind of pit them against breaking the law, let's say.
Yeah.
Who would break the law if they're afraid of dying and dying is the threat of breaking the law?
hmm hmm
Well, all of a sudden you have the law stepping into the place of God or stepping into the place
Right.
of
Yeah.
Tao and saying, look, if you were able to die a natural death, you will have seen your life out. You will have achieved everything that apparently you will have lived your entire life. But we're going to cut that short, right? And there's a threat of that getting cut short. It's a threat of getting cut short in all sorts of places. And when we
Right.
can build that fear, then you will do what we want you to do. Well, we at that point, we quote unquote, we the either lawmakers or whatever are
Yeah.
taking
Yeah.
the job of God into our hands, and when we do that, we cut our hands. Now that could be, that could be saying we have blood on our hands. It
It
could
could. It
also,
could. Yeah.
it could also be saying that we are only hurting ourselves by trying to take the role of God.
hmm Yeah. Like the death penalty. It used to be a deterrent.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, I'm not going to do that because I end up getting the death penalty." And prison used to be a deterrent. They had chain gangs. People didn't want to go to prison.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get three hots in a cot and live the good life with cable TV and dental and vision and all the great stuff that you have when you go to prison these days.
Right.
So well, it was a deterrent. But I've never believed in the death penalty. I don't think it does anything to deter crime,
I agree.
to deter it. So, you take the government takes the role of God and say we're going to decide who lives and dies with the death penalty. Then
And
they
really,
are
it's
cutting
just
your
made
hand
things
now
worse. I
because
don't
it's
know
not.
that I don't think it's made anything better.
It hasn't made anything better, and it actually, I think there is really more people opposed to it than there are people for it, unless
I
they're
think so.
Trumpsters. I guess I don't know,
Yeah, I
but
don't know.
but I think they
Well,
actually believe in
as
eating
we
their own young. So
before we get too far in 74, do you have a number that you want to explore today?
between which
1 and 81.
181, let's see, go with 60.
60. Off we go. While governing anything, use restraint. Treat it like cooking a small bit of fish. Getting it perfect takes a lot less than you think. Centering all things in Tao, evil will have nothing to oppose. Returns evil with nothing to oppose returns to a state of illusion. All harm dissipates in the face of those that know their true selves.
Hmm.
You know, we end this as this in this space of like knowing your true self.
Mm-hmm.
While governing anything, use restraint. That's where it talks. You know, like whether or not you're governing yourself and your actions. You know, like when we come out of like addiction and we come out of all these sorts of things, right? We have to govern ourselves. We have to use restraint because I know when I first entered into any sort of recovery, one of my first things to do was like quit coffee, quit smoking, quit drugs, quit alcohol, quit everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had no ability to restrain myself. And
Mm-hmm.
here this next line is treat it like cooking a small bit of fish. Getting it perfect takes a lot less than you might think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I see a lot of things in there.
Yeah,
That,
talk to me.
I have to govern myself. I have to, uh, and I do that by seeking only to do God's will.
Yeah.
And for me, that's simple because God don't ask that much of me. He asks me to do the next right thing
That's
in
right.
all situations, all my affairs. Just if I do the next right thing, I stay out of trouble. I don't worry about any repercussions from doing the right thing. As far as what the next right thing after I do this, do me to walk my puppy dog. Now, if I
That's
don't
right.
walk him and he goes bathroom on the carpet, that's my punishment.
That's right.
Because I know what I walk him at certain times of the day, and he expects that, and he holds it all night long, waiting for me to get up and walk him at this certain time.
Yeah.
So that's I have to govern myself to make sure that I'm doing the next right thing. So that's
Yeah.
what I do after we talk. Right now, I'm preparing for it. I'm making a few cigarettes, and I'm getting my shoes and things and everything ready so I can do this and take care of my little buddy.
Yeah, and you're
He's a
governing
little
that as
buddy,
well, right? Like you're
right?
governing like and that's the great thing. It's like it doesn't take much.
No, no,
You just got to do this right now. It could get overwhelming if you start thinking, "Oh, well, if I'm going to do this, I got to do everything." It's like, "No, just do this next most
right,
obvious thing."
right. And there's also I follow a train of a mindset of thought that delayed gratification. Let's not
Yes.
do. Let's do the things I don't want to do first and get them out of the way, and then I'm free to do the other things and enjoy them.
That's right. And
If
you
I
know
do the other things first and enjoy them, I'm not really getting full enjoyment because I'm still thinking about the things that I need to do
right,
that I
it's
didn't.
hanging over you.
The things I don't want to do that really need to be done, but I'm doing this instead, and it's just I can't enjoy it. So if I do all the things I don't want to first, then do the things that I really do want to do, I enjoy it, and it's delayed gratification. I get more pleasure from life from doing what needs to be done and then doing what I want to do.
You know, and that brings us back to this line: getting it perfect takes a lot less than you think. When you finally whatever quote unquote suck it up and do that which you don't want to do, it never takes as long as you fucking waited
Right.
for. Like you waited 6 weeks to do this thing, and you had all this stress, and you actually put more time and energy into avoiding it than it took to do it.
Exactly.
It's like, damn, like why didn't you just sit down, separate an hour and do your damn taxes? Because this doesn't take
Right,
long, like, but it's like, oh, let me file for an extension. Let me see how to do that. Let me do all this research so I can avoid doing that which I don't want to do, and yet it doesn't take anything once I do it.
right. Usually that's the case, and this is my mindset though. Is the years of practice and training to do it. It came on pretty. I took to it pretty quickly, but there were still times I wanted to do what I wanted to do first, and then I
Yeah.
had to pay for it. But you have to be, if you're going to get it, you have to be willing to pay for it. And I'm not willing to pay for the stress and stuff anymore to get, you
That's
know.
right. That's right.
So
Like
before,
like you want an extension? Well, it's gonna cost you,
right,
and
right,
it's always gonna cost you more. It's like credit. It's like you're just kicking the can down the road.
yep,
That's also interesting because what we have here is like centering all things on Tao, evil with nothing to oppose returns to a state of illusion. When you can just efface that, all of the evil, all the things that you were trying to avoid, they
hmm,
just disappear because they're not there. They're just in your head.
right. Yeah, the my worst enemy is my expectations.
Yeah. Your
It,
expectations for how things are supposed to be or how you're
right,
supposed to
how I
be.
think things should be and how things really are, and the expectations of uh, well, I'm gonna get this for somebody, and they're gonna be so happy with me, and boy, they're just gonna be so
Mm-hmm.
happy. And I get it for them, and they go, "Oh yeah, that's nice," and they just walk away. I'm like, well, I'll never get you anything else. I just, but it was my expectations of how someone's going to react
Yeah.
to what I do and what I say
Right.
and who I am. And when they
Yeah.
don't react the way I expect or imagine that they will, I can have a fight with you. And by the time I get to your house, it just take me 20 minutes to get to your house. I didn't have that fight 17 times, and you win every damn time. So I
Yeah.
just get up and go, hey, man, I'm sorry about
That's
that.
right. That's right. All
Because,
like, and this wraps up with this idea that all harm, any kind of harm, whether it's waiting or whether it's like in the law or whether it's the things that you imagine are harmful, anything that's in your
mm-hmm,
head that's harmful, all harm dissipates in the face of those who know their true selves. And this is, like what that means is like when you know that which is outside of you is really just you showing a bit of yourself to yourself, then
mm-hmm,
you don't have to create the illusion of fear. You don't have to create the illusion of evil. You can just be there with it.
mm-hmm.
You can face it.
Yeah. Now, I am a true believer in people doing evil to people. But if there's a force out there pushing people to do evil and influencing them to do evil, I don't know. But I know that people are capable of evil. Outer forces, I got no idea.
Well, I mean, I do think that people can. I don't, like labeling it as evil is the linchpin here. It's kind of
Yeah,
like, well,
you
like
have
if
to
you
have your definition of evil may be
right,
different than mine.
and really what we start seeing in the world is like individuals interacting amongst themselves. Like one person does something to another person and that could be described as evil.
Right.
Yes, of course, we could label that as evil. But here what we're saying, when you know your true self and you know you're going to die and you know that you are kind of forfeit in the world, then
Mm-hmm.
no harm can come to you. It's like, yes, you may die and you may die, like in a way that is that someone else took liberties and harmed you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's true. But it has to be defined that way by you. And when you know your true self and you know your, whether it's a child of God or connected to Tao or whatever, this is what your contract is.
Mm-hmm. Cherokees got a saying, and today's a good day to die, meaning that uh, they're not looking forward to dying. They would like to live as long as possible.
Of
But
course.
if they die today, I'm in order. I'm ready.
Yes. Yeah.
I could go to the next level, to the great mystery. I'm ready for it, and I
And that,
am. I'm not afraid of it. Never have been, and I
yeah,
watch it in children and my children also. When they come to that age where they all of a sudden realize that they could die, they understand what death is, and they see a pet or my daughter squished a frog by accident, and and when she was about 3, and I had to sit down and try to explain to her that, and I talked to her like she was an intelligent individual her whole life, because she is. Just because she's 3 doesn't mean she can't understand what you talk to her if you
that's
explain
right.
it to her. So I explained it to her, and then she's asking her mom and her grandma, both religious people, and they're talking to her about sin and heaven and hell. Had the poor child afraid to go to sleep, you know. So,
Now you just dropped off. You want to come back up and land that? That'd be great. Otherwise, I know you got to walk your dog. So, yeah, it's always interesting when we can address children as human beings rather than as children. When we can just talk to them about how it is. Go on.
yeah, I got 4 minutes before I need to be out the door. Yes, I'm coming. Bandit, there's nobody out there. Leave him alone. He probably sees a kitty cat. We live out in the country, and every once in a while, a stray cat comes in there. But yeah, I had to teach her that little bedtime prayer that, if I die before I wake, pray to the Lord my soul to take, so she could
Yeah,
go to sleep and know that she would go to the heaven that her mom and grandma told her about. And she's 32 now, so she makes up her own mind about life and death and religion and what she believes in. She follows many of the traditional Cherokee uh, practices that I do,
good.
and promotes, and supports the religious beliefs of everyone. I don't care who you believe in, uh, Allah or Jesus or uh, Ronald McDonald. That's your
Yeah,
choice.
yeah.
I followed Ronald McDonald for many years. He was my hero there. That's how I did it. When I was young, of course, and I could eat anything and never gain a pound. And then I turned 25. I looked at a hamburger and started getting heavy. So I had to change my whole diet, knock
Yeah,
that
you got
stuff
you
off.
gotta you gotta listen to your body. You gotta say,
Hmm.
okay, just like, and that's the thing. Your body isn't responding to what you want it to do. It's just responding the way it's responding.
Yeah, it's
You
responding
know,
to age,
and
natural uh, progression of itself. Your
yeah,
body's going to age regardless of what you say or do.
yeah,
You can
and
take all
even
kinds of vitamins and help yourself to stay healthy as you age, but
and as
and
we
you
look at
need
this
to.
number 60, we talk about governing. You're also governing your body. While
Mm,
governing anything, use restraint. Like cooking a
right.
small bit of fish, getting it perfect takes a lot less than you might think.
Right, and remember that I only govern myself. I don't govern anything else. I am
That's right.
completely out of control, and I love it.
Yeah, that's good. That's
I
the way,
control
it's
nothing but me.
yours.
I control my emotions. I control my actions, my reactions. That's all on me. So
It's
no,
all
no
on
matter
you.
what you do, you're not going to make me angry unless I decide that I'm going to get angry about it.
That's right.
And I don't find many
You,
things that anyone can do today that I want to get angry about. Why don't we get angry at somebody cutting me off and be road rage maniac? Or why don't we get angry because the line's long in the Walmart? I knew before I left home the lines were long in the Walmart.
that's right.
So I'm prepared for it when I get there. I go to Walmart. I ain't got no appointment 20 minutes later, and I'm
That's right.
standing in the
That's right.
line.
You're
I got
gonna
no
be there.
appointments. Walmart is my only appointment.
That's right.
And when that's over and the other shopping, whatever's over, then I can set up appointments for other things. But yeah, you have to go with the mindset. It's going to be traffic out there, and it's going to be lines in the Walmart, and it's going to be people cutting you off. It, just smile at them and go, "Hey, I'm glad you didn't hit me. Keep on going."
Yeah.
Then if they do hit you, you
Even,
get out and you wait
it's,
for the
yeah.
authorities,
It's
and you
all.
just
It's all. Yeah. It's all.
yeah,
Like, once again, when you know yourself, evil returns to a state of illusion.
yeah, yeah.
It's just an illusion. It's just an expectation.
It is. That's what it is.
That's
You
right. William,
expect
thank you
bad things,
so
bad
much,
things
man.
happen. But it's good to talk to you, and I got
Always
to
nice
go
to
because my
reconnect.
boy's already sitting up looking out the window waiting for me.
All right, you go have a nice walk.
His clock is better than my Timex, let me tell you. Bye bye, my friend.
Bye
Have a
bye.
great day.
You as well. All right, we're bringing in Dr. Goodman. We're gonna look at another number, and then we'll probably call it a day. How's it going, James?
Oh, great.
I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. I got. How have you been? How's the book going?
Oh, I'm almost done. Um,
I mean, how's it? How? Like, isn't it on the market?
oh yes, it's definitely on the market. It's been on the. I became overnight international bestseller.
Oh, what category?
I don't forget. Uh,
Oh, okay.
uh, uh,
No, that's all right. I just,
yeah,
yeah, it's always a category. But
right,
cool.
right, yeah.
I'm
It's it's
assuming
it-
I'm
it's it's,
assuming it's
it's
not overall
no,
in every book. Like I didn't, I haven't seen it cross that threshold. But so yeah, no.
yeah.
Well, wonderful. I'm really really excited for you and all that you're doing. And um, what's the title of it? Just to give everybody a
Unaware of your awareness.
unaware of your awareness. That's great. That's great. Like
Yeah,
awareness is one of the things that I talk about a lot in all of the work that I do. And that's a big part of the Tao. And just being aware of what's going on like around you, within you, and what is part of Tao and all of that. So I'd love to dive into a chapter with you. So what number do you got? Between 1 and 81.
I'll be 65 this year.
65. This is titled Simple Awareness of All Things. So, masters aren't interested in educating people. They would rather them be yielding and kind. When people put their faith in knowledge, they lack faith in their own awareness. When they are happy to not know, they have no choice but to put their faith in themselves. When governing a country, family, or self, avoid being clever and using knowledge to guide you. People are not naturally stupid or submissive. When not leaning on knowledge, all things are guided by awareness. I think that's pretty on point to like your book.
You got that right. I was surprised. I'm impressed. Okay.
Yeah. So what are some of your first thoughts of this verse?
It's like this speech-a-load came out and it just came up on the computer, and I took a look at it, and so all of a sudden I said, well, instead of just having a book, I can also turn it into an audio book. And so that's what I was sitting here doing. You
Oh,
know,
I see. Yeah.
yeah. And I was surprised how easy it was. You know, so
I'm interested. This verse is really, it's interesting. Like what we have. Because I think you've been in touch with educated people in your life, and I know, like how have you taken or how have you seen like those people that are educated versus people that are connected to their awareness.
excuse me. uh, yes, I see some people that are educated, and they want to keep it all to themselves.
Mm.
Oh, and then there are some out there, well, like me, want to share uh, their knowledge, and that was one thing that my mother and father will always encourage me to teach my brothers and sisters. You know, I see one year I passed to the sixth grade. My sister passed to the fifth grade, and she didn't know something, and so my mother said, "James, you just passed to the sixth grade. You know it. Teach it to her." You
Yeah.
know, and so I always did have that leadership role of being in control and being responsible. So I
Well,
could
you know,
see
I think what I'm leaning on here is as we read through this, people aren't interested. The masters aren't interested in educating people. They would rather them be yielding and kind. And then this next line is really interesting to me. Like, when people put their faith in knowledge, they lack faith in their own awareness. When they are happy to not know, they have no choice but to put faith in themselves. How do you read that?
I do that quite often because I always I have on my website learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, and so even though I know it, I'm willing to hear somebody else's viewpoint and learn a different uh, way of speaking it, telling it to someone. So I'm not like close minded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. And that's the, like, I think that's really what's being said here. When people put their faith in knowledge, when you know something and you're unwilling to challenge something because you know it, quote unquote, you end up losing faith in your own awareness. You end up losing faith in the idea that you can just wing it. You end up losing faith in the idea that, like, this is your time, just do what you want. And yet we're all winging it all the time. There is like, even if you are leaning on your knowledge, you're winging the fact that your knowledge is right.
That's right.
And so why not put faith in your awareness, put faith in Tao, put faith in the idea that, like, you are at the center of this, and then you can do this better than anybody else because you are the one doing it.
Yeah,
when
you,
when they when they are happy to not know, when the people are happy to not know, they have no choice but to put faith in themselves because they don't know. And because they don't know, they only have one answer, and that's the only one that's coming up within themselves. And that has to be the right answer because there is no other answer because you don't know, because the knowledge isn't there. And so, and that's why, the masters aren't interested in educating people, quote unquote educating. You know what I mean?
yeah,
They would rather see them yielding and kind. It's better to see kind people than smart people. I know, I've met lots of people, and kind people are better than smart people.
yes, and I from being dyslexic, I learned to be kind, because I wanted to know, and but I had the opportunity to learn as I was being kind, and so I just learned to respect people's, and I want that for me, and if I want it for me, I'm gonna have to give it. So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and and we always learn, like, that's.
Yeah,
But if the problem is knowing, right? The problem is thinking that you know versus being open to learn. And, like, this is what is, when people put their faith in knowledge, put their faith in that which they know, rather than, like, look, yeah, you learn stuff and then you relearn and you unlearn, and just like you were saying. But if you cement your life in some knowledge, then you lose faith in your own awareness.
that's right.
When governing a country, family, or self, so when governing anything, avoid being clever and using knowledge to guide you. People are not naturally stupid or submissive, and I think that what that's saying, when governing a country, family, or self, avoid being clever and using knowledge to guide you. The people around you, they're not stupid. They're fine. And they are being guided by themselves as well. But if you use your knowledge and say, oh, you need to know something, then I'm being arrogant.
That's right.
And if I'm being arrogant, saying, I have to teach you, well, then all of a sudden, we start kind of falling into this trap of not respecting somebody for what they know. And yes, I might have a different way of doing things, and I can share that.
That's right.
But educating somebody is a little different, because that means that you have information that you think they need. And as you have that information, and if you think you have information that other people need, that can get you to a place of arrogance pretty quick. But what this is saying is people are not naturally stupid or submissive. Let them do what they're going to do.
That's right. Let them do what they're going to do, because what's the point of you telling someone else what to do? No, 9 out of 10 they ain't gonna do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
And then this last two lines, when not leaning on knowledge, all things are guided by awareness. When you don't lean on information that you picked up somewhere else, you can be present now, in this moment, doing what is required at this moment, which has never been required before.
that's right. Because it's the moment in time that you have right now.
That's right. And that's all you got. And so no matter what you're governing, whether you're governing a family or whether you're governing some sort of a city or country, whatever, or even just yourself, as I was talking about with William a second ago, like
Mhm.
controlling yourself is a big part of, what, how you can combat quote unquote evil. When evil with nothing to oppose, it will return to a state of illusion. And here we're talking about governing, and you might think someone else needs something, but they have everything that they need in this moment, just as you do.
That's right.
And to like we're often afraid that someone else doesn't have something because there was a point in our lives where we didn't have it. And when we didn't have information, we got to make sure everybody else has information. We think that we got to teach everybody everything. But really, they're going to be just fine
That's
with
right.
or without us. Now, can we um, can we allow them to be who they are? Can we allow them to yield and be kind without us trying to impose our thoughts of education on them?
And they can turn around and take it and down you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Like
what
you just put yourself in danger, right?
in danger, right? Yeah.
You just put yourself in the crosshairs of someone else for what? Like for your own ego or whatever.
Hmm.
That, that's a lot of risk.
Yeah. I
You know,
go
I,
what? Yeah. I just want to say I go with the thought that my mother and father and grandmother would say. I would do anything I can for you, but I'm gonna say it. I would do anything I can for you if I can, but you got to ask me because I don't know what you are thinking.
that's right. And it's so much better when you can give somebody what they want with them asking. Because here it's saying, like don't educate people. Don't give them what you think they want. You'd rather them be yielding and kind, because a kind person is so much more effective in the world than a knowledgeable person. And then it wraps up with, when not leaning on knowledge, all things are guided by awareness. And that is what your book's about. And that's at the core of everything. Just being aware, trying to open your awareness up to more than just knowledge.
That's right.
Oh,
Be
doctor, it's always great to check out, man.
yeah.
It's always really nice to hang out with you and share some Tao. It's so wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and thank you. Mark.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
hey,
this was
same here.
this was beautiful for today.
Yes, and I send you a link to the show I was on.
Oh, please do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Send that over, and yeah, send it over either. Send it over on Instagram or wherever you can message me. I think that'd be great. Um, and well, this is Martin John, and I am up. Oh, Dr. Robert's going to come on. He's probably going to send me talk to me about a link real quick.
Yes, the link is on your DM now.
Oh, good, good, good. I'll definitely check that out.
Yes, yeah. Okay.
All right, all
But
right.
it
Well,
was fun talking with you.
it's
You talk to
always
you in
it's
a bit.
always a blast. Have a good one, man.
All right, you too. Bye bye.
Okay, so I'm gonna be wrapping this up. I got a full day ahead of me, and I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for supporting the Tao. I read 74 from a couple different translations, and then I moved to William chose number 60 and Dr. Goodman 65. I read those from my translation of the Tao, which will be available on my website at some point in the next couple weeks, I'm sure. I'm just wrapping them up, but if you want to hear more renditions of the Tao from me, definitely come and join me because I'm almost done with the whole translation, so I'll be sharing only my Tao for Tao of the day for quite some time until I get sick of it, and then when I do, I'll just keep tweaking them a little bit here and there. But I think they're doing really. I think they're really getting to the point, and I think it's a really great translation. But I'm a little biased, so. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. This is Martin John. If you benefit from the work I do, I would always receive. I'm always open to receiving a tip and a financial tip through Venmo at martinjohn_Garcia. So if you are inclined and benefit from my work, thank you so much in advance for that. Um, as I mentioned, I'm writing the Tao. My workshop is on my website. You can purchase that. You can have a lifetime access to it. You can also, join me for monthly 1-hour calls. There's all sorts of stuff that you can do to interact with me. Find me on Instagram, my website, martinjohn.com. Message me here. If you can't message me here because I'm not following you, I am not following a whole lot of people. So it is possible that you don't. You could ask me to follow you through the Ask Me Anything section. That way you can send me a message and then we can connect one-on-one. I'd be happy to connect with you. So yeah, if you, yeah, keep an eye out for me. I'm here weekdays, Central Time in the morning. Like I keep it pretty loose, but always doing Tao of the day and here to help you live the Tao. Well, not really. If you want to live the Tao, you can. I'm just here reading the Tao. All right, thank you so much. I love you guys, and until next time, keep recovering yourself.